The John Sterling Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And now let's go to the 77 WABC ActionCarting.com phone line. New York City's premier waste and recycling provider. And my guest is a really good buddy of mine for a long time. You've read him. He's probably written in every newspaper in New York and on the internet. He is Wally Matthews. Hello, Wally.
Hello, John. John, you just had me laughing. I love the way you went into the break with the song. That was what I heard as a kid between Dan Ingram and Ron Lundy and all those guys. You brought my childhood back.
You know, I had Jack Marin on, the former Bullet, a small forward, and when I had him on, he said, "This is great. I was 14 listening to Cousin Brucey."
Right, with a transistor radio with one little earplug, that would go in one ear at the beach.
Well,
so anyway, I just want to say this to you, John. I'm so happy that you have the show. I really am, because your voice needs to be heard in this town. It really does. I mean, you have such a wealth of knowledge. I don't know 5 other people who would know the WABC jingle anymore, but I mean, you could drop a reference to Fred Astaire or the Marx Brothers into a baseball broadcast. Nobody on earth can do that. So I've missed you, and I'm glad you're back.
I think that's a little odd, but it's great. I once did a thing, Wally, on the pregame, and what was the guy's name? The Bay of Pigs. Puig, Yasiel Puig, and he had kind of blown off some young fans, and I did a bit about Milton Berle on a murder show, Andy Griffith, Matlock, and anyway, I did this thing in effect saying, "You better enjoy it now, don't throw it away," that kind of thing.
Right.
And a buddy of mine, Joe D'Ambrosia, who has been on the show, another buddy, and he called me up that day and he said, only John Sterling could pair up Yasiel Puig and Uncle Milty.
Right. You know how many people, or how many times I've said only John Sterling could have said that? Many, many times.
It's weird. Speaking about saying things, Wally Matthews did a talk show in town, and it was good.
He did for about 3 months. Yeah.
Well, that's the business too, baby.
Actually, it was 3 years. All right, I don't want to be too modest. It was 3 years, and you were one of my first guests, and I thank you for that.
What did you think of doing the show? It
was great. It was like stealing money. I wish I could do it again.
Yeah, I agree with you. And you had on as your partner Tom Keegan,
correct?
Who was writing, I think, for the news then.
No, we were both we had both just left the New York Post to become big, famous, and wealthy radio stars.
Of course.
You see how that worked out.
Of course. It's perfect. I did a whole thing on the Yankees because they are playing, very poor baseball.
So I've heard.
And they've taken a 7-game lead, and now they're 2 games out. So they turned around 9 games. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was listening to the end of your segment there, and I agree with you. It's a long season, and let's not forget this, right? We're in mid-July now. We're just about up against the All-Star break. But what's going to happen at the end of the month? Everything's going to reset with the trade deadline, right? We know this. This is the way the game is played now, all right? You go north on April 1st with one team, and on July 31st, you have another team. And they're going to make some moves, which, if you're a Yankee fan, you hope that they're going to plug the holes here. But I couldn't agree more about the need for not only relief pitching, but starting pitching that can go deeper into games, because guys get worn out. And I think they need an innings eater. I really do. I think losing Garrett Cole, first of all, was a huge blow right in the beginning of the season. But you need guys who can give you 6 to 7 solid innings. You cannot be running 5 relievers out every single night. It's not going to get you through the playoffs.
No, it may not get you to the playoffs.
Exactly.
First of all, they don't let guys pitch long innings, as you know.
Yes.
When they're ready to face the opposition for the third time, they usually get taken out of the game. And but I think the Yankees need some bullpen. I don't know if you've heard this, Wally, because it just happened, that it looks like Clark Schmidt is going to need Tommy John.
I heard it from you.
Well,
just moments ago.
So you look at Garrett Cole, and you look at Heel. Don't forget, that's a pretty good pitcher that they're missing. And now Schmidt. It's a good question that will be asked tomorrow. I know. Can they overcome this? Can they overcome it?
Well, I know Aaron Boone is going to say they can overcome it, because if he doesn't say that, he'll be out of a job the next day. Can they overcome it? Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, there will be some pitchers, available. Here's what you got. Now it's time to start scouring, the rosters of teams who are going to be sellers. And there's always half the league is going to be sellers. And there are guys out there that you can pick up. I've actually been thinking more in terms of, don't they need a third baseman? Jazz Chisholm's not happy playing at third base. He's out of position. They really should move him back to the middle infield, and there's guys out there that they can get. I don't think they'll get Bregman. I don't think the Red Sox would trade Bregman within the division, especially to the Yankees, but they could get maybe Nolan Arenado. They could get Ryan McMahon. And I think that would make Jazz Chisholm a happier player and a better player if they moved him back to second base.
I agree. And I think that's going to come. I'm one of those who want Ryan McMahon. I know he's another left-hand hitter, but he might have a great time in the Bronx. I don't know if they can get him either. I don't know. Colorado wants yes.
But you know what? Colorado's is out, right? They're going to be sellers. I think they do have a good chance.
Oh, yeah.
So, and you don't want a left-handed hitter in Yankee Stadium? I say, hell yeah, you do.
Oh, Ryan McMahon is a pull hitter, and he'll hit a lot of home runs. Anyway, I'd like him, and I don't know if the Yankees want to take. Is that what I'm hearing, that Arenado makes an awful lot of money?
Yeah, and he appears to be on the downside. It's amazing. If you just look at his stats past couple of years, he's not the power hitter he was, 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't know. I would, if I had my choice, if I was the GM, and I'm not, and I played the GM in newspapers and on the internet many, many times, I would go after McMahon. He's cheaper. Boy. And he's more, and he appears to have more upside at the moment.
Boy, I'm with you. I think
all right.
He would.
Let's take over the team. Let's you and me be the GMs.
Of course
give Cashman the radio show, and we'll take over the team.
I like to think I could do it, of course, but
everybody does.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Mike Vaccaro had a good line about everyone feels they could do it, and Vaccaro had a line about everybody thinks they're underpaid. And boy, is that true? Is that true?
Well, I know it was true of me. I don't know about those guys.
Wally, tell me about the Mets. I know that they've won 3 in a row, I think. The last one against the Yanks. They have a very good team. How far are they going to go?
I don't know. I mean, look, 3 days ago or 4 days ago, I would have said neither one of them had a great chance of making the playoffs. They both look like they were in free fall. I mean, they look a little bit better now. The Yankees seem to have cured them, right, along with Milwaukee. I don't really know. I was a long-time Met fan. I grew up a Met fan, so I'm from Queens, and you just have to always be ready for the heartbreak, okay, because it always seems to come. I covered that game, I think it was back in 2007, where all they had to do was beat the Miami Marlins to get into the playoffs, and they had, I think they had Tom Glavine going.
Yes.
And in the first inning, he gave up like 7 runs, and I think it was Tom Seaver Day too, and they were going to do that after the game, and everybody was down. Nobody wanted to stay for the ceremony anymore. So one thing about the Mets is, yes, they are capable of excellent things. They are also capable of horrible collapses, because we've seen it a million times.
Well, I would say the problem, I think everyone else would say it too, was the lack of names in their starting rotation. But until this losing streak, the starting rotation was pitching great. And then they had a couple of injuries. They've never figured out, baseball's never quite figured out why there's so many injuries. And, Wally, were the guys who were playing when we were young, were they just tougher?
This is the exact thought that just went through my head. I can't remember Tom Seaver ever going on, at the time it was the DL, I was going to say the IL, with an arm problem. I remember him. He had to go out for maybe a month or so in 69 or 70 with a back injury. But this guy would throw, close to 300 innings a year, and the arm never went. And he faced the lineup 4 times through. Bob Gibson faced the lineup 4 times through. Sandy Koufax faced every batter 4 times through. So were they better pitchers, or were the hitters not as good? I don't know what the answer is there, but certainly something has changed. I know guys, come out firing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs now, which cannot be good for your arm,
no.
the long haul.
No.
But there's got to be something different in terms of training methods or something that is causing these guys to be more injury prone. Because could you imagine Tom Seaver leaving a game after 6 no-hit innings, or the manager even trying to take him out because they're worried about his health? Never would have happened. Same with Gibson. Same with, Koufax. Go back to Bob Feller, who I'm sure you saw. Guys like that, they seem to be bulletproof and unbreakable, and I just don't know what the difference is now.
But there is a difference. Now,
yeah.
It could be, as they say, there are more better pitchers now than ever because the batting averages aren't the same. They're probably 20 points lower. You mentioned the game. I just remember the quote when Tom Glavine pitched against Miami, and if the Mets won, they'd go in the playoffs.
Right.
And Glavine gave up a lot of runs early. And
I think it was 7 in the first inning, if I remember correctly, so I covered the game.
So afterwards, the reporters found Glavine, and they asked him, well, losing this game and giving up all those runs, was it devastating? And Glavine said, well, no, it wasn't devastating. It was disappointing. Well,
okay.
If you're a broadcaster and wants to go to the playoffs, and you're a player who wants to go to the playoffs, the manager and the coaches do, it's devastating.
Yeah, but
not
you and I both
disappointing.
know this. We know this. It's more devastating to the fans than it is to the players.
Much. I couldn't agree more. We
all have bad days at the office, and I guess that's how he looked at it that day.
And since Glavine was making in excess of $10 million, I don't know what he was making, but he was in excess. He wasn't, he could take it.
Yeah, they weren't going to throw any benefit dinners for him. He was doing just fine, and I'm sure he had a contract for the next year as well. So
I'm sure
it is completely different, for the fans who are so invested in it. And I get it, you spend a lot. It's a long, and you'll get this, you'll get this reference, but it's like watching a daily soap opera, watching a baseball season. Right? I mean,
absolutely.
Every single day there's another drama, and that's what I loved about it. And when you're a fan, you get really wrapped up in that. But when you're a baseball player, this is your job, all right? This is your job. And now, so now it's over. Now I go on vacation for 3 months, and I'll come back in February. It ain't so terrible.
And Wally, nowadays, the guy that you mentioned who is not terribly upset because he's a millionaire. And,
sure.
And his financial security is there. And it will be.
But in fairness, these guys are very competitive. If they weren't competitive, they wouldn't get here, right?
Well, that's
they would
a good
not
point.
get here, and they do want to win. And but you have to take it that way. I think otherwise, you truly would be devastated. You'd go home and you'd be sitting there, with a gun barrel in your mouth or something. You can't take it that way.
No,
it's got to be okay. It's my job. I screwed up today. We'll come back and do it tomorrow. We'll come back and do it next year, and we'll do better. I can't see any other way to handle it.
Well, Wally, it's wonderful to have you on. I love see every guy who comes on, or gal, because Susan was on, have strong, tough opinions, and I like that. People want to hear that. So
yeah, well, that's how I paid for my house and sent my kids through college.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
I don't know what they were worth, but they were worth that. So
yeah. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. Please have me back.
And you will be back. Don't worry. We're going to have the same guests back. So I appreciate it, Wally. Thank you.
All right, John. You be well.
You too. Well, we're going to have a break, and hopefully we're going to have the voice of the Indians, Tom Hamilton, on with us. So we'll go to the break and sell things. And where are we going to sell them? On 77 WABC.
The John Sterling Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.